The granary used to belong to one of the many small dairy farms in an area on the edge of a large city. It is 550 feet above sea level, so is fairly exposed, but surrounded by small, uncultivated fields with good hedgerows and several wooded areas. The garden itself has a good mixture of mature evergreen and deciduous trees and shrubs, and so is a perfect home for birds with lots of cover. They must have been inspecting it on a regular basis, for as soon as I started feeding them, they were down like a shot, and within a short time had completely taken over the garden. I started off in a very simple way, just throwing a few seeds on the grass, and this brought in lots of chaffinches and sparrows, including a tree sparrow. It took the local blue tit about 5 minutes to find this first red bag of peanuts. I later bought some nice wooden feeders, but went away for a few days, and when I came back, I found them all in shreds on the lawn. We shall see the culprits later. This seemed like a really good idea, as it would only allow the small birds to eat the nuts. But in fact it was a complete disaster, as 4 birds actually killed themselves trying to get out through the wrong holes. This sort of feeder is much safer and fairly sturdy too. Well, here's the new boss of the garden, just having a check round to make sure everything's in order. It didn't take a Sherlock Holmes to work out just who had decimated the peanut feeders. Squirrels seemed to be everywhere. To outwit the squirrel, even supposedly squirrel-proof bird feeders have to be hung upside down, as any squirrel worth its peanuts learns very quickly how to take the bottom off, wingnut and all, and then all the nuts just fall on the floor. You can almost see this one thinking aloud. I don't believe it. It's definitely upside down. Well, we'll just have another look. Yep, it is upside down, the rotter. It'll take hours to get the nuts out this way. But he wasn't going to give up. He just took a few at a time and ate them on the top here. And an hour later, the feeder was empty. Need a good wash after all that work. The local greenfinch can have the rest. And actually, the local greenfinch can't eat for keeping everything else off. But if you watch carefully, you'll see that the local tit population get their own back. Watched by a bemused onlooker. This washing line was the next thing to try and deter the squirrel, with plastic bottles on either side of the feeders. It did seem to work, which is more than can be said for the 6-foot pole which was greased with Vaseline. I was furious at this. He carefully unpicked the seam of the stainless steel, and then it was too dangerous to give the birds. Quite a lot of birds arrived after this, and they can speak for themselves.
I couldn't believe this. Are the birds getting their own back on the squirrels?
The cold winter days bring in lots of blackbirds, sometimes over 30. Then in the early spring, there are some wonderful unexpected visitors.
I've no idea what this is.
Unless someone's lost a canary.
But this is a ring-necked parakeet.
My squirrels are passionate about digestive biscuits. If you watch carefully, you'll see that when he drops it by accident, the blackbird's in like a flash. Having been brought up in a competitive world, I don't take to defeat easily. But now, I had to surrender to a squirrel. I bought them their own feeding boxes, and then they went on testing my patience by burying things all over the garden.
All this activity out in the open soon brought a much larger visitor to the garden, so all the feeders were moved into the relative safety of the branches.
These devices on the ground are meant to deter the local cat population, who were now showing a bigger interest in the garden than ever before.
I bought this balloon to try and keep the magpies and the sparrowhawk away, but I understand that fruit farmers buy it to protect their apple trees from the bullfinches. I can't see that working. As spring approaches, the winter visitors overlap with the early arrival of the chiffchaffs. And the wren built a nest in this conifer, just a few feet from the window. This large flock of about 80 bramblings appeared in the middle of April. They spent nearly all day, every day, in the garden for 2 weeks. They should certainly have been in good condition to fly back to Scandinavia.
By now, I was beginning to wonder if it was my address. Could the birds read?
Well, they munched their way through 25 kilos of seed in 1 week, and another lot had to be ordered on special delivery.
At the end of each day, the grass was covered in husks. It was at this point I decided to buy bee-hulled seeds in future.
These little redpolls are really attractive birds, especially the male, now in the breeding season.
And I think I've got the best bullfinches in the country.
Quite a lot of birds build nests in the garden or use boxes and eventually bring their young to feed.
This is how it's done. Baby bullfinches.
Young tree sparrow. Two more young bullfinches.
Young dunnock. Aggressive blackbird to a baby greenfinch. And look at this. He was the last to fledge, and it took him a long time to have the courage to come out of that box. What a big drop. This is the noisy brigade. This blackbird's waiting for his opportunity to get on there. Come on, hurry up. Young great tit, trying to feed himself. Young coal tit, looking rather sorry for himself. Where's my mum? It's quite hard, is this really? I wonder if this is the same blue tit that we saw come out of the box. Another young coal tit. And this great tit looks absolutely exhausted. Well, now we know how he got up the pole. No problems at all. It's really kind, isn't it, to provide all these little sitting points, tables and brackets. Actually, even a squirrel can lose his footing when it's pouring with rain. Hanging by his toes. And before long, all the young birds have learned how to use the feeders. Oh no, my only apple. The only one left by the bullfinches. This is where he should be, on his own box. The robins produced 2 sets of twins. More little house sparrows. Young blackbird. Here are the robin twins. Young tree sparrows at close quarters, 5 inches away from the window. Watch this blue tit fall off the table. Soon back again. There's young tree sparrow now being fed by one parent. Oh dear, another daffodil gone west. Actually, they always replace it with a peanut. So I don't suppose it's entirely thoughtless. Oh, not another one.